What's going on, guys? This is RichaadEB here, and today I am bringing you a video for the first time in fucking ever. So, in case you don't follow me on Twitter or haven't been paying attention to PPL updates or any of that shit, I have moved to France from Australia, which is a pretty fucking big deal. And so that kind of got in the way of recording for a bit. I also got really burnt out after last PPL season. Had a lot of uni shit to do, including, getting organised with France, which sort of just led to me not being able or feeling like recording at all, so I didn't. But now I'm in France. I've been doing some league things, been keeping my talents, quote unquote, for Pokemon up a little bit, and I've decided that I'm going to upload battles for the league that I've just joined. One thing to address first is why no webcam and why the sound quality garbage. I left my mic and webcam in Australia for a couple of reasons. One, my bag had a weight limit and they put me over the weight limit. And two, I wasn't sure if I was going to actually record it all while I was here, so I was just like, not worth bringing it. I'll bring more important stuff and I might actually need like a raincoat. So sorry about the sound quality or whatever. I'm not going to buy a mic while I'm here. I'll just deal with it for the next little while because meh, who really cares. Next thing to address is the league I am in. It is called the YOLO League. Now, despite what you may think, it's actually pretty cool because that stands for YOFIZ Olympus League Organization. The letters don't really matter, it's just meant to be YOLO, but the point is, it's a league organised by YOFIZ, basically the same rules as PPL with a couple of small exceptions, and those are Fizz is made a god at the start of the season, which means he gets to draft before anyone else does. He gets a budget of 150 points instead of 110 points. And he gets one Uber's Pokemon as voted on by the rest of the league. So, Fizz got Arceus, and no one's ever going to beat him. But you only play him if you win the rest of the league. So I'm just going to win the rest of the league, and then meme on Fizz and win that too, because that's how we roll. So, when we got into drafting, I went with my usual tactic of don't plan at all, and just pick the best thing that's left. So I was 4th pick overall, and 3 picks up before me. Well, if Manaphy went first, as it probably should, Terrakion, Mega Altaria, and it got to me and I was like, no one's taking Mega Lopunny. I don't know why no one's taking Mega Lopunny. I'm going to take Mega Lopunny because, as most of you will probably know, this is considered either the best or at least one of the best mons in the format. I personally think it's a bit overrated, which is part of why I'm trying it out. I'm less worried about this league than I would be about PPL, I guess, and so I was like, you know what, I'm going to see if Mega Lopunny is really as good as people say it is. Dual stab that hits the entire metagame for neutral coverage. It's dumb, powerful, crazy fast, so really hoping I can use it effectively. Yeah, not much else to say about Mega Lopunny. It's good, everyone knows it's good, and hopefully I don't fuck it up. I then decided that I would go with, again, my usual tactic in league format and get my good hazard removal early because I don't want to end up picking him on just because I need a defogger in the last round, some PU defogger that doesn't fit the team because I need hazard removal. So I decided to go with something that has pretty good type synergy with Megalop, that covers a decent speed tier, gives me a little bit of offense, and in my opinion it's the best electric type in the format, and that is Zapdos. Thornton the Zapdos. I haven't explained nicknames, I should probably do that. Mega Lopunny is Maria Brink because she's the lead singer for In This Moment, if you guys don't know, and in a music video of theirs, she wears bunny ears. And Thornton is for Irene Thornton, who is the wife of Bon Scott, who, those of you who've been around the channel for long enough will know that Bon Scott was Thunderous from last season because he's the Lightning Bolt Macy DC. So this is Thornton because it's his wife and it's a bird and jokes. Anyway, Zapdos is freaking good for a lot of reasons. It is one of the few bulky electric types. Has one of the things I love about electric types, which is access to U-turn, so I can U-turn out on ground types. It also gets Baton Pass, which is pretty cool. And most importantly, gets that good defog. Base 125 special attack for an electric type, base 100 speed. Really solid pick. It cost me 17 points overall, so Mega Lopunny was 19, Zapdos 17. I've used up a decent chunk of my budget, but I'm pretty happy with teams that are only 8-9 mons or whatever. Figured it was worth it. And yeah, I actually wanted Zapdos on my team for PPL last season. I got Thunderous instead after it got sniped. So glad I get to use Zapdos. Now, the next one, I had a plan at this point. I had decided on some things I should probably try and get. and Donphan was going to be my next pick, because I needed a good spinner, a good ground type. It covered both of those really well, gave me a stealth rocker, gave me a lot of good things. But that's mostly because I didn't expect this next one to still be around. And I debated about it for quite a while. I think I had my pick for an hour while I talked about it with my front office, and ended up just going, fuck it, I'm gonna get this mon, and I got Excadrill, because 2 seasons in a row with Excadrill, can't go wrong. I love this thing when I use it. Amazing spinner, amazing offense. Probably used up way too much of my budget at this point, but again, I'm happy with smallish teams, so I decided to just go with it. Because a good steel type gives me, if you really want to see how much I love Excadrill, go watch the past 11 videos for PPL plus the draft analysis or whatever. It's freaking amazing one, best spinner in the format. So at this point I'm doing pretty well. I've got an incredibly offensive Mega, 2 amazing forms of hazard removal, and a shit ton of offense, which is just like I like it. So now I've got basically most of my wall breakers sorted out. I started looking at the kind of support my team needed. And one thing that Mega Lopunny absolutely loves is Toxic Spikes. I was looking around, sort of went back to my plan, and went, okay, so what hazard stackers could I get? And this one was still around, and that is Roserade. So I'll give the nicknames for the last 2. Glorification, same as the PPL last season. There was a band called Brain Drill, and they had a song called Glorification. That was like Extra Drill, Brain Drill, done. Rose McGowan is Marilyn Manson's ex-fiancée, and also a bit of musician herself. She's also an actress, and Roserade, like Rose, easy. Now, things to say about Roserade. Spikes and Toxic Spikes, which is good. Decently bulky grass type on the special side, but the main thing I love about it is the coverage. Technician, hidden, power. If those 3 words don't just fucking blow your mind, then I don't know what will, unless you don't understand Pokemon, in which case I don't know what you're doing here. Amazing move coverage, just because of that. It gets Dazzling Gleam as well, so it can cover the whole HP Fairy doesn't exist thing, and its dual stabs are already pretty good. So I've just added more powerful offense to my already powerful offensive team. Plus I stack Toxic Spikes to help out with Mega Lopunny, so I can just get all the chip damage I need, and another Cleric, which helps out. Just all around solid mon, which cost me 13 points. I think I didn't mention extra 17, so used up a lot of my budget at this point. I think I've used up over half in my first 4 picks, so I have to go a little bit cheaper from here on out, but that's alright because the first 4 mons on this team are freaking amazing. So, from here, I'm into round 5, and I have something which I think is extremely important in a draft, and that is a Fairy type. Now, Fairy types aren't necessary to a draft. There are times when people draft them and they shouldn't, but I was looking at the weaknesses and other things I had on my plan and decided that I really should just get this one now, and I decided to just pick Gardevoir, because Gardevoir is pretty bulky on the special side. 115 base special defense, which is pretty good, but it's also very offensive, good coverage, and a lot of Cleric support again. So once again, I've added more power to this team, which is just great. Another Cleric gets Trace, which is a really nice ability in League format. It allows you to scout out your opponent's sets, allows you to run some pretty memey sets. Pretty fun mon. Nice Fairy typing. Gives me a Psychic type too, which helps out with a couple of weaknesses that I have at the moment. Really, it just fit the team amazingly at this point, and I figured an offensive Fairy could go amiss in what I had planned. Next mon I wanted, this is the one that hurts. I really wanted Seismitoad. It fit everything I needed to in this next slot. It has an amazing matchup against some of the teams. I had already planned to bring Rain Seismitoad against Fizz, but it got sniped. I think it was like 3 picks before me it got taken, and I was so cut. I went off in the chat. So I got replacement Seismitoad, I got Swampert. 1 point cheaper, not as good in my opinion, mostly because of the offensive capabilities. Defensively, it actually deals with the same sort of things, pretty similar defensive spread, gives me Stealth Rocks, which is really nice. Decent enough coverage, but it doesn't get Swift Swim, which is what I really wanted from Seismitoad, and it doesn't get some particular moves that I wanted that Seismitoad has, etc. I'm not going to get into that too much though. Swampert does some cool things. I keep forgetting to explain nicknames and prices. Gardevoir was 11 if I remember correctly, Swampert is 7, and the Gardevoir nickname is the Enigma TNG. You can go look up their channel on YouTube. They are I think they call themselves a metal step artist, basically, I couldn't think of a decent Gardevoir nickname, so I looked up like black holes and heavy metal, and they have a song which is about black holes, which is kind of metal, and I listen to them sometimes, so I was like, you know what, screw it, it's a nickname. And Voices of Luna is because there is a German band, I believe, called Axolotl, and Swampet's an Axolotl, and their newest album is Voices of Luna. So I expect that. Next up is something I've actually had on the plan since like my first pick. It was something which once I got Megalophony, I was like, I'm going to try and get this too because they go really, really well together. And in part is because this next mod is actually one of the best Megalophony checks in the game, and that is Cofagrigus. So, cool things about Cofagrigus. One, another Toxic Spiker. So I now have 2 Toxic Spikers in Roserade and Cofag, as well as a really, really solid spinner, so I can already hazard sack the absolute crap out of people. Other cool things about Cofag is the ability Mummy is actually really, really underrated because there are so many things that rely on their ability that this could just take care of. So like Azumarill can't afford to touch this. This is why it's a good Megalock counter, is it can take one hit and then absolutely 100% forces it out. Just can do a lot of really useful things. It's not set up fodder because it gets moves like Haze, it can do a decent amount of damage with base 95 special attack, and you know, Ghost is generally pretty good coverage against everything. And yeah, pretty happy I ended up getting it. Now, the Cofag nickname is Papa Emeritus, and that is because that is the frontman slash lead singer of a band called Ghost type, super easy one right there, and that cost me 8 mil. So at this point I think I had 18 left, not too much, but enough for 2 or 3 pretty solid mons. So I had a couple of things I was missing at this point. A really, really big one was an ice resist. At this point I had 2 weaknesses in Zapdos and Roserade, and nothing that actually resisted ice because of Swampert dual typing. So to try and get myself an ice resist, I was looking at things, you know, do I get an ice type, do I get a fire type, etc. I was looking at Sneasel got taken, and what I decided to get was a lower tier fire type, because there are a lot of them that are really, really cool, things like Magmortar, things like Typhlosion, Pyro, which can actually still, you know, be really useful in the format. But the one that I decided to go with is actually Flareon. Now, Flareon, for those of you who don't know, was used by Monotui in last season of PBL D2, and he had a lot of success with it. I think it went 4-0 in kills, which is pretty solid for a mon that is typically considered absolute trash even in PU. Now, Flareon's stats aren't the best, but they're definitely not bad. Base 130 attack is freaking great. Got boosted Flare Blitzes, it's still going to be doing a decent amount of damage. But the main issue with Flareon is it really doesn't get much for coverage. I think it gets like close combat and frustration, and that's about it. I can work around it. It's lower tier, it was only 5 mil. Gives me a fire immunity, which is really nice if I need something to take a Will-O-Wisp, or need a particular immunity for whatever reason. It's pretty bulky as well on the special side, at least, not so much on the physical side, but it can kind of take a hit. But at least on the special side, you know, you can run AV Flareon to decent effect, and it wasn't too expensive, which was, at this point, what I was really focused on. So Fledflair was the guitarist for Goodbye to Gravity, and this is a bit of a sad one, but you know, it fit the names or whatever, who actually died at a concert of theirs because their pyrotechnics went wrong. So, you know, there was a flash fire. It's alright, everyone knows I'm going to hell anyway, so that joke won't make it any worse. Anyway, Flareon cost me 5, leaving me with 13 mil for the last 2 picks, and I was looking at what I could get. Still was looking for an Ice Resist preferably. A Dark type would also be really, really nice to help Megalophony deal with the bulky Psychics, and something that fit both of those roles really well. Sneasel, which was gone obviously, but also Greninja. Now, disclaimer, this is Torrent Greninja only, I can't use Protein. If I could use Protein, then this team would be freaking insane because my offense would just be unstoppable, but it's Torrent, making it a bit weaker. But nonetheless, dual stab hits things reasonably hard, still has incredibly good coverage, like a Gum Shot, Ice Beam, Low Kick, everything under the sun. It also gives me another Toxic Spiker and another Spiker, so I now have 2 Stealth Rockers, 2 Spikers, and 3 Toxic Spikers, which is just absolutely insane. Really going to help out Megalop there. It gives me another Speedy Mon, so at this point I only had 2 things that broke the base 100 tier, which were Megalophony and Zapdos. This gives me a 3rd one, which again helps my speed tiers a little bit, so there's not a massive drop. Greninja is a pretty good mon for the price I got it for. It was only 12. I definitely have options with this team, and I like where it's going. But after those 9 picks, I still had 1 mil left. And the advantage of the way PPL has changed its rules this season, and thus the YOLO League has changed its rules, is you don't lose budget when you make trades. Meaning that to make a complete another meme pick, you basically lose nothing for it. So, with that in mind, with 1 mil left, I was looking at potential meme picks. And I was like, okay, I want it to be a meme, but I also want it to actually be able to do something at some point if I need it to. And the mon I decided to go with is none other than the god itself, Surskit. We in, boys. So, Surskit has jack shit for stats. Those freaking appalling. Typing, not very good. Offensive coverage, kinda pathetic. But it gets sticky web. It gets so swim. That was pretty much all I needed to make me decide that I wanted Surskit, because in the rain, this thing can actually do damage. It still gets like a Hydro Pump, and like a life or modest Hydro Pump in the rain is still going to hurt things. Nicknames for the last two: Gojira is a French band, and the French are like frogs, and Greninja's a frog. I'm a terrible human being. And Surskit is because I looked up Bug Metal or something like that on YouTube, and Onima is the first band that came up with a song called Bug, and listened to it, and I was like, hey, this is pretty cool, so I named it after them. That is the full team, just in case you fell asleep during any of that, because I know I do during draft analyses. We have Megalopony, Zapdos, Excadrill, Roserade, Gardevoir, Swampert, Copagrigus, Flareon, Greninja, and Surskit is the final team for the North Melbourne Kangaskhans for the YOLO League. I will be uploading battles for this if I want to. To try and avoid burnout, I'm just going to keep this super duper relaxed. And yeah, first battle is sometime this week. Upload will go up next week, I think, although talking about when upload is going to go up is kind of random because I haven't worked out a schedule and probably never will because I'm that kind of person. So, in any case, I hope you have enjoyed my first video in I think 4 months now. It's been a long ass time. And I hope you guys are as pumped to return to League format as I am. I think that's everything. I will endeavour to leave all the other coaches' links in the description, including Fizz. Be sure to go check him out, he's a really, really cool dude. I absolutely love watching his content all the time, and highly, highly recommend him. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I will see you in my next video.